Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Origin Story Masterclass. My name is Eric K. Johnson. My company's called Podcast Talent Coach, but I don't just help people launch a podcast. I help people become someone worth listening to. And that's what this masterclass is all about. This Origin Story Masterclass is designed to help you craft the story that positions you as a powerful voice of influence. And that's what I want to help you do today through about the next 60 minutes or so. I'm going to share my screen here and hope that it works properly. So, in this masterclass here, our whole goal is to show you how to command attention without it being necessary for you to be an over the top sort of personality like you hear on the radio. That's what I want to help you do today. And it's all through your story and through the power of story. At the end of this masterclass, I'm going to give you a direct link to my authority assessment so you can download that to see if you're ready to be the true authority in your niche and see if you're ready to step into that spotlight and just command the stage and command attention. So stick around with me all the way to the end, and I'll share that with you in the chat. I promise it's going to be worth your while. I know there are all sorts of distractions that happen to us all the time. They're all around us, but the strategy I'm going to show you today can really change your life and really change the way you present yourself to your audience regardless of the platform. If you're on a podcast or on a live stage, on a summit, on a YouTube channel, this can really make a difference. And I don't want you to miss any of the crucial steps I share with you today. So do me a favor and turn off your distractions so you can stay focused and be committed for the next 60 minutes. That's all I'm asking for you. If you can do that for yourself, over in the chat, type in "I'm ready" and let me know that you are ready to rock and roll, that you're going to play full out here over the next 60 minutes or so. Turn off your Facebook feed and stop checking your email and turn off your cell phone. It's 60 minutes, and I'm telling you, the 60 minutes that you commit here over the next hour, it's going to do big things for you. It's going to do big things for how you show up in the world. At the end of this, I'm going to invite you to a workshop so I can give you even more help. And I'll tell you what that's all about here in just a little bit. But as we go through this, what I want you to remember is that magnetic leaders don't just share what they do. Magnetic leaders tell stories that make others believe. And that's what your origin story can do. It not only shows people what's possible, but it makes them believe that they can do it too. That's what magnetic leaders do. And that's what I want to show you how to do today. You won't keep clients for life just by creating great content. You keep clients for life by creating an interest in you as an interesting person, because an interesting person builds powerful relationships. And that's what your origin story is all about, is building powerful relationships with your audience and really connecting with them. People come for your content, but they stay for you. Think of all the people that you follow, all the experts that you follow along. Do me a favor, over in the chat, post up some of the experts that you follow. Who has your attention? People that you love, that, oh, they're in your niche, or maybe they're just influencing you in your journey in life. Post those names up in the chat. The people that you respect and that you really admire. Because what I want to show you is how origin story is so important and how it creates you as an influential leader. So over in the chat, just give me some of the people that you follow. It could be life coach, could be business coach, could be Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi, or however Dean pronounces his last name. I'm sure I'm butchering it. There are so many people out there. But when you build relationships with people, Ed Milet is fantastic. I love Ed. I actually saw Ed speak at a radio conference, I don't know, like 2 decades ago. He was absolutely fantastic. He had just left Kodak and started doing his own thing. Um, but you know so much about these people: John Maxwell, Bill Gates, People like that who lean into who they are and share themselves on stage, those are the people that really build relationships with you. And relationships are so important in business. If you've ever read the book, The Ultimate Sales Machine, in that book, Chet Holmes talks about your buying market and how many people in your market are buying today. Right now, in any market, there's usually about 3% of the market that are buying today. That means they're out actively looking for a solution to their problem. There's another 7% that may not be actively looking for the solution, but they might be convinced to buy. Meaning that if you mention it, they're like, you know what? I wasn't in the market for a widget today, but now that you mention it, I could use a widget. Yeah, give me one of those. So that 7% could be convinced to buy today. The next 30% of your buying market, they're not in the market today. They're going to need a widget. They just don't need the widget today because the widget that they have is doing the job for them. Let's say you sell cars and they say, yeah, you know what? I'm going to need a car, but the car I have right now is doing just fine. I'll probably need a car maybe in a year or so. The next 30%, they don't think they need what you have based on the information they have. They think their car is all right, but next thing you know, their car is going to break down next week. Their transmission's going to go out and they don't know it. So they don't think they need what you have because the crisis hasn't hit them yet. And then the final 30%, they're what we call the never interested because maybe you're selling PCs and they're an Apple user. Or maybe you're selling Toyotas and their spouse works for Ford. So they're not in your market. However, things might change and they may all of a sudden stop working for Ford and go work for IBM. And now maybe they're in the market to buy your product. So, where relationships come in for you when you're looking at this buying market is that if all you're doing in your content is selling today, you're only selling to that 3% that are buying today, maybe the 7%. Let's say you're selling to the 3 and 7, that's 10%. You're missing out on the other 90% of the market if all you're doing is selling. But when you're using your content and you're using your presence on stage to build relationships, you're building relationships with the whole 100% so that when they're ready to buy, they think of you. Because if you're waiting until they get into that 3%, you're way behind the eight ball. They've already built relationships with somebody else and they're already being influenced by those individuals. But when you build relationships with everybody, when it comes time to buy, when they move into that 3%, or even when they move into the 7%, they're going to think of you when it comes time to solve their problem. And that's why stepping into your origin story and stepping into who you are is so critical when it comes to building that influential personality that you can be. So you're probably wondering what makes me uh, qualified to teach on Origin Story. Well, let me tell you, it's been a long road. I started in radio back in 1989 in this little Quonset hut over on the other side of the river. My brother worked there, and I accidentally got a job while I was working there. My brother and I grew up in this little house with my mom, single mom, raised the two of us. Mom always had a side hustle going on, always making money where she could, taught me the love of entrepreneurship, and brought my brother and I up right. I ended up going to college here at the University of Nebraska and got my architecture degree. And about three-quarters of the way through my architecture degree, I started falling out of love with architecture and wondering what I was going to do with my life. And that's when this radio job came along by accident. My brother worked there and ended up getting me a job at the radio station. I was a broke college kid, could earn some extra college money. And so I said, yeah, I'll take the job. And all of a sudden, I started falling in love with radio as I was falling out of love with architecture. And a lot of people wonder, what does architecture and radio have to do with each other? Like those sound completely diametrically opposed. And they're actually pretty similar because in both careers, you get to be creative within a framework. You get to be creative within a structure. And it's not just about your content. You get to be creative with your story within that content, and that's what connects you to people. It's funny because in architecture school, I hated getting up in front of anybody and talking. Like I had to present our projects to our peers, worst day of my life. And now I do it all day and all night and absolutely love it because I share myself with my audience and they fall in love with me. And that's what it's all about. So I got into radio, and when I got into radio, I struggled. It was not easy by any means. I did overnights for about 3 years. Overnights, midnight to 6, and trying to stay awake at 4 in the morning is incredibly challenging night after night after night. And I just struggled to get anybody to pay attention to me. It was a challenge. And I would go in with my program director and we would listen to my show and she would critique it and give me ideas on how to make it better and how to actually command attention, how to build an audience, how to get them to fall in love with me. And one day we're listening to my show and she stopped the show and she said, Eric, when are you going to start being yourself? And I said, Mel, what do you mean? And she said, when I listen to your show here, all I hear is you trying to be everybody else. You're copying what they're saying, you're copying who they're being, you're just trying to be them. You need to stop being them and start being you. And that was the day that I discovered how to be my authentic self, how to be a true personality and share myself on the radio. And I started doing that, and all of a sudden I got the night job and I got the afternoon job and got the morning gig, and I just start my career started taking off. And I had another radio coach, and he said, "You're doing great. You need to start building friendships with your audience now, not just relationships." And I said, "What's the difference?" He said, "Friendships, friends know everything about you. Relationships is a cordial handshake. When you're a friend, you know everything about the person. And friendship comes through self revelation. The more you reveal about yourself to your audience, the more they will see you as a friend and the more powerful that relationship can be." And that's when it took off. I mean, friendships became my foundation. I've now done, I calculated it up the other day. I've now done over 35,000 hours of radio over the past 3+ decades that I've been on the air. I have about 70,000 people that listen to me each and every week. And not only that, they do it, and it has made me the most listened to radio show in the entire state. I've gone on to interview amazing people like George Strait and Ice-T back when I was in college. I was pretty thug back in college. Lady Gaga was the only country station in the entire country that Lady Gaga wanted to be on. She came and hung out with me for about an hour. That was pretty awesome. Lionel Richie. Not only that, not only have I been able to interview great people, but more importantly, I've been able to build a relationship with an audience that inspires that audience to take action. It motivates them to do something. And that's the power of a relationship because when you have a relationship and you make an ask, people take action. And we've been able to raise hundreds of thousands of bottles of water for the Open Door mission. We've been able to raise over $1 million for Food Bank for the Heartland. This is Old Dominion here. They came to play for us and helped us raise over 1 million for Food Bank for the Heartland because we asked people to take action. Businesses have paid me to endorse them, like Cox Communications and Twizzlers and Wendy's. And I've done that by consistently sharing myself with my audience. I've built relationships because I've shared my story and I've shared myself with my audience, and they come back again and again and again. Not only do they come back when I make an ask, they take action. And that's the power of building a relationship. One day, I'm the public address announcer for our local hockey team. And one day after a game, my wife and I and my kids are walking down the concourse heading to the car, and here comes a couple coming the other way. And we make eye contact and they stop and they're like, "Oh, Eric, hey, great game." And we're chatting it up for a couple minutes and they're like, "All right, well, we'll see you later." And they go walking off. And my wife says, "Well, why didn't you introduce me?" And I said, "Honey, I have no idea who those people were. Like they just think they know me because they listen to me all the time." Like that's the power of relationships. They come up to me all the time and they say, "I know we've never met, but I've listened to you forever and I feel like we're best friends." That's the power. Imagine what that can do for you and your business and your journey when you have those kinds of relationships. Post that up in the chat for me. If you can have that kind of relationship with your audience, how better would it be? How better would it be attracting clients like that rather than having to go chase them down because you have a strong relationship with them? How would your life change? Karen says, "I'd love it." That is awesome. So much better. It's so powerful. So many things can happen when you share yourself, and it all starts with your origin story. It all starts with sharing yourself with your audience. And your future can be so much brighter when you do. So let me show you how to craft your origin story. Now crafting your origin story is the foundational principle. We don't have time to go through all of it today. I'll give you a quick overview of what it looks like. Um, the foundation, this is all part of my ultimate Mike mastery. It's how you become that person worth listening to. You go through these 7 steps, but your origin story is the foundation. So your origin story is your purpose, your power, that superpower that you have, and the principles upon which you stand. So those are your why and your mission and that pivotal story that shaped you into who you are. Because that's the only thing people can't copy is you. It anchors your authority in meaning and it moves others toward action. So, when it comes to your superpower, what you do better than anybody and what you help other people do, how did you develop that superpower? When did you realize you had that superpower and you were able to do what it is that you do? Post that up in the chat for me because you all have something worth sharing. You've all gone through that journey and you've all created that intrinsic superpower that only you have because only you have gone through that journey and only you have experienced what you've experienced. Cindy was a young mom going through a divorce. Absolutely. Maduri's still discovering it. We all are, I think. Yeah. Um, Karen said, when I finished with 9 seconds left on the clock of 100-mile run, that is fantastic. That is what I'm talking about when it's sharing you. Only you've done that. Only you've experienced. Some other person may have gone on a 100-mile run, but they haven't experienced it the way you experience it. And your origin story will help them do that. The second level is your persona and your presence. That's who you are. This comes from your origin story. It comes from your power and your principles. This is how you design your on stage, on screen, in room, on mic presence that shapes you into who you are, but you do it with intention. You don't just let it happen. You decide what parts of your persona you want to share with people. And you know it. You live it better than anyone because it's you. You're not having to make something up. You're just leaning into who you are. The third level is your parables. These are the stories that inspire and persuade and positions you as the leader. The story is what we wrap around your principles. This makes it possible for you to create endless content because you're not always looking for something else to share. It's not your content, it's your context. And the parables are the context that you share. These wrap around your foundational principles. They're the metaphors that you share with your audience. The fourth level is your personality. This is where you bring your full magnetic self to every moment on the mic. Whenever you're in front of an audience, it's unfiltered, but it's refined. It's you being your authentic self and stepping in there. This here is all rooted in your origin story as well. This is why this is a pyramid. All of it starts with your origin story. The fifth is platforms. Once we have your parables and your personality all created, we get out on platforms and we share you with the world. We strategically find places where your voice can reach masses: podcasts, video, keynotes, media. Platform doesn't matter. It's your persona that matters. It's your presence, it's your purpose. It's all of the things we've talked about before. Platforms. The platforms can change, the foundational principles don't. And that's where your origin story builds all of this. Sixth step is your positioning. This is your insider language. This is the lingo that you use. The way Russell Brunson uses funnel hacking, or you're only one funnel away. The way Dave Ramsey uses baby steps. This is your own kind of unique space in the market because you've created some unique languaging around what you do. And then the seventh step is just polish it up and make progress. We continue to refine it. It's not a destination, it's a journey. It's becoming who you are and living it to its fullest. You find new ways to say the same thing. It's not about creating more content. It's not about your content. It's not. It's about the context that you wrap around the content. It's the stories that you use to make your point. Using stories to build relationships and achieve the success in your business. That's what it's all about. It's how you craft your origin story and how you lean into it and really, really make it your own. Because it's not about figuring out more content to share. It's how do you share the same content in different ways by wrapping your story around that content. That's what will make you different. People don't want more steps. They want to master the steps that you're sharing, and they master those steps by learning it in different modalities. You put the stories around your principles and processes, and you use those stories to build relationships. So when it comes to building your origin story, there are 4 parts to a powerful origin story. This is just like speech class, except there's one piece that so many people miss. Everybody knows that you need to start with your introduction, and then you give it the body, and then you have your conclusion, right? The piece that people miss is the transformation in the story. You want an intriguing introduction. Your story cannot unfold like a movie. You cannot tell a story like if you were getting on stage at the Moth Story Slam, you cannot wander into the story. Because when you're on a virtual stage like a YouTube channel or a podcast or a summit, people can leave. You can't let the story unfold, because if it's not holding their attention, if you're not a master storyteller, people will walk out the door. You need to hit them with an intriguing introduction. Tell them where we're going before they get on the bus, so they understand. If I wander into a story, let me give you an example here. If I start telling you a story about, I was cleaning the garage this past weekend. I actually had to clean the attic. And so I went out in the garage and I had to get myself the ladder so I can get up in the attic. And, I had to move all the lawnmower and all the crap out of the way to get the ladder. And I finally got the ladder and I hauled it upstairs to get into the attic. And then I had to move everything in the, and you're wondering where this story's going. Like, do I have a point? When you're telling a story from stage, start with your point. What I want to do is hook you early. And I would say something like, you're not going to believe what I found in the attic this weekend. I could be a millionaire. Don't know yet, but I'm going to find out. So I had to clean the attic this weekend. I went out into the garage and I got the ladder and I had to move all the crap out of the way so I get the ladder first and I hauled the ladder upstairs. Now you know where the story's going, and so you can enjoy the journey. If you wander into the story and let it unfold, people are going to wonder what the story is all about. Have you ever watched a movie and you're like, what is this? What's the plot? Like the movie's just dragging on and you're like, oh, maybe that's the plot. Oh, no. Wait, maybe that's the plot. No, no, wait. Maybe that's the plot. Don't let your story unfold like that because people will leave. All right. So hit them with an intriguing introduction. Second step, we talked about vivid details. Make it come to life in the theater of the mind. Use active language. Active language typically ends in ing. You can see somebody walking. You can see somebody crying. You can't see somebody who walked. You can't see somebody who cried. So use active language and make the visions come to life in the theater of the mind. Put them right there in the moment. Use all the senses. Make them taste it and smell it and hear it and feel it. Stir emotion with it. The piece that most people miss is the transformation. That's like the climax of the story. And then one day, this happened. And that's when I realized X. Like, how are you different by the end of the story? Most people tell a story as a anecdote, right? It's just a series of chronological events. This happened, then this happened, then this happened, and the end. And they're like, well, that wasn't a story. That was just a timeline. What was the point of that story? I have no idea. Nothing happened. There needs to be some transformation in the story that really takes people over the edge and makes them realize something. Could be a transformation for you, could be a transformation of somebody you're talking about. Whatever it is that makes them feel something, stir that emotion in them, and add that transformation. That's the climax to the story. And then one day that happened. And then your powerful conclusion, right? That's how you know when to get out of the story. The powerful conclusion hits, and you know you've made your point. You've started with an intriguing introduction. You hit the powerful conclusion. You've restated it. And that's why I could be a millionaire. We'll find out. I'm taking it to the pawn shop next week, you know? And so that's the powerful conclusion. But make sure you add that transformation in there because that's what will connect people. This is what will start to endear you to your audience. And can you see how easy this will be? This isn't like you don't need to be a master storyteller. You just need to know yourself. And it can be so easy for you. Now, there are three challenges that people run into when they start trying to tell their origin story. All of a sudden, that little voice in their head starts talking to them. You know what I'm talking about? You got that little voice in your head that says, who are you? Like, who are you to be doing this? Right? The first challenge is a lot of people think they have to create more content in order to give more value, right? You've heard this a million times, right? Under promise, over deliver, right? People, people don't want more content. They don't want more steps. They just want more clarity. This is not true at all. You don't need to create more content in order to deliver more value. You need to find different ways to say the same thing. It's not about the content, it's about the context. They don't want more steps. They want you to help them master the steps that they've already learned. You need to inspire them to believe they can do it. And you make them believe, like we talked earlier, magnetic leaders make them believe through story. You give them examples. You talk about your story and your challenges and how you've accomplished it. They don't want more steps. They want to believe it's possible. And when you tell them story and you make them believe, that's when they lean in. You make them believe through personality. You make them believe through we've learned through story from the beginning of time. Think of anything you've ever learned, whether it's from the Bible stories or Grimm fairy tale stories or Disney stories. You know, people think Disney was such a great movie writer. Disney never wrote any of his movies. He wasn't a great story writer. He was a great storyteller. All of Disney's stories came from another story some of them written back in the 1500s. They were just told through Disney's filter. They were told through Disney's story. Walt Disney grew up on a farm, him and his brother, his mom and his stepdad, and his stepdad was super mean. When they would come home from school, they would have to go out and do all of the chores around the farm, come in, have dinner, do their schoolwork, go to bed. Walt Disney had no friends. It was he and his brother working on the farm. Disney's friends were the animals on the farm. And that story, that origin story from Disney, shaped every story he ever told. Rarely would it have a father figure in the story, and all of the hero or heroine's friends were animals, right? Cinderella, friends with the animals, no father in the picture, right? Peter Pan, all the kids out in Never Never Land. Snow White, out living with the seven dwarfs, right? Friends with all of the animals. Jungle Book, Rudyard Kipling's great book. Completely different than Disney's story because it's through Disney's eyes, right? He goes out, lives with the animals. Your origin story creates the filter for all of your content. And when you send all of your content through that filter, nobody can copy it because only you've lived that journey. It makes you unique, makes you different from everybody else. Look at Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey helps people get out of debt, right? Dave Ramsey has been on the radio for, I don't know, 30, 35 years. Dave Ramsey has 8 baby steps to get out of debt. And he's been doing radio 3 hours a day, 5 days a week, 30 years. And every question on that show is typically answered with one of the 8 baby steps. You've got the same answer, one of 8 answers for 30 years. Dave's not coming up with a 9th baby step or a 10th baby step. The only thing that makes it different, the only thing that makes today's show different than tomorrow's show are the stories that are wrapped around the 8 baby steps. Take your stories and wrap them around your foundational principles that we built there in that foundation of the pyramid, and that's what will separate you from everybody else. All right. So when you think you need to create more content, it's not more content, it's more context. All right. Next step is, or the next challenge people run into, I don't have a big personality. I'm not Oprah Winfrey. What are we talking about? Nobody's going to tune in for me. I'm not unique. This is completely false as well. You don't need a big personality. The method I'm showing you, personality, you don't need a big personality. You just need an authentic personality. You just need to be you. And who knows you better than you? Nobody. You got this mastered. All you need to do is lean into it. Because here's the deal. Anybody can copy your 6 steps to success. Anybody can copy Dave Ramsey's 8 baby steps and go teach them. What they can't copy is your perspective and your opinion. And when you lean into perspective and opinion, that separates you from everybody else. That's what will make you unique because only you have lived your journey. Only you have been you. And if you think of it, most big personalities didn't start as big personalities. Oprah Winfrey was a newscaster in Baltimore on the 10 o'clock news, just like every other newscaster. She ends up getting a show. She gets her own daytime TV show. And back in the day when Oprah started in the 80s, she was doing the same show everybody else was doing. Sally Jesse Raphael, Phil Donahue, Oprah Winfrey, they were all the same show. Like they were talking to crazy people and, it was sensationalism. And then Oprah got tired of doing it. She's like, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore. This isn't me. I want to be me. And so Oprah changed the show and Oprah started talking about what she wanted to talk about. She started talking about her husband. She started talking about her best friend, Gail. She started talking about the books that she read. She started talking about her weight loss challenges. And guess what? People started falling in love with Oprah. Like, Oprah struggles with weight loss. I struggle with weight loss. I love Oprah. And all of a sudden, Oprah is the biggest thing no next to sliced bread, and Phil Donahue and Jesse Raphael just go about their business because Oprah had the courage to be herself and share herself with her audience. She wasn't perfect. Zig Ziglar was the same thing. He talks about growing up in Wazoo City and all of his experiences growing up, and he shares those stories from stage, and that's what separated Zig from everybody else. If you're a fan of Russell Brunson, you know that he lives in Idaho. He's a wrestler. He loved direct mail marketing when he was growing up, and he collected it all. And his potato gun story. Like if you listen to Russell for 5 minutes, you've heard his potato gun story because that's who he is. That's what shaped him. That's what shapes everybody. I want you to think of the people that you mentioned earlier, the experts. And in the chat, what I want you to do is type in one thing about a person that one thing you know about the person you mentioned earlier, whether it's Tony Robbins or Dean or any of the people you follow. What's one thing that you've learned about them through the stories that they've shared in their content? Put that in the chat for me. It could be Gary Vaynerchuk working in the basement of his dad's liquor store. Went from deep struggles to success. Yeah, perseverance, confident in who they are. Yeah, you learn about that through the stories that they share, regardless of where they're sharing their content, whether it's on a podcast or on a summit or a stage or a webinar or wherever they're sharing a little bit about themselves. And that's how you're falling in love with who they are. The third challenge that people run into is nobody wants to listen to me. Like I'm nothing special. Again, completely false. Because this doesn't require a large audience, it requires the right audience. We're talking about quality over quantity. All right. You don't need a big audience. The people who love you will love you. And the challenge when people roll into this is they're like, well, I don't want to upset anybody because I want the biggest audience as I can get. If I say rate you on a 1 to 5 scale, 1, I hate it, 5, I love it, and everybody says 3, you're dead in the water. 3 means I don't care. Take it or leave it. Whichever. 3 means if it went away, I wouldn't miss it. But I'm not going out of my way to tune into it. Don't hate it, don't love it. It's a 3. You don't want to be a 3. You want to be a 5 or a 1. And people say, why would I want to be a 1? Because people care. If you're a 1, at least people care. Howard Stern, you'll definitely find people that say 1. Rush Limbaugh, you would definitely find people that say 1. But there are a whole bunch of people that say 5. And as long as you have enough 5s to love you, don't worry about the 1s. The 1s aren't going to buy what you're selling anyway. Just lean into being who you are for the 5s, because when you're yourself, you're providing that unique content, you're building that relationship with them, and they're coming for you. And the 1s aren't going to come anyway. If they're coming to troll you, let them do what they do. They're not for you anyway, and you're not for them. You're worried about the 5s. And that's tough. It's challenging to have tough skin to lean into that. I don't even read my comments anymore on my podcast. I had one guy say all he wants to do is tell you he's been in radio for 30 years, and I wanted to say, well, yeah, because I have, and you probably haven't. You're probably recording your podcast downstairs next to your mom's water heater. So thanks for the comment, but you're not for me. So move along. Be who you are. Love yourself. What I want you to remember as you're telling your story, it's really difficult for us to remember what it was like to not know what we know. It comes easy to us, and we've done it for so long. We think it's easy for everybody. I go out on stage in front of 5,000 people with a microphone, like, I'm talking to my best friend, and they're like, how do you do that? And I go, how do I do what? How do you go out there in front of that audience? And I go, like this, it's just what I do. Now, if I think back when I was in college, I couldn't get up in front of 12 people and present my architecture project. And now I'm going out in front of 5,000. It's hard to remember what it was like to not know what we know. And though it comes easy for you, it doesn't necessarily come easy for everybody else. Lean into your story and how you discovered your superpower. You become interesting by being interested, and you demonstrate your interest by the stories that you tell. The stories that you embrace show what you're interested in. And when you're interested, you ask better questions and you become more interesting. Everybody loves a good story. And I've helped a ton of people do it. I helped, I took a guy, I was programming a top 40 radio station and we needed a morning show. And I loved this guy who was on the alternative station and I wanted to hire him. And my bosses were like, he can't be on the top 40 station. He's on the alternative station. I go, what does that matter? It's not the music he's playing, it's who he is. He's hilarious. You just love to be around him because he asks the best questions. You're like, how would that come into your head? Like he's just a really interesting guy. And after a long discussion and cajoling for weeks, they finally allowed me to hire him and he went to number one because he was interesting. Oddly enough, I don't work there anymore, and they fired him recently, and he's running his own podcast, and he's doing a wonderful job. He's amazing because he's sharing himself. It's not about the content; it's about the context, and he has stories that goes on for days. I have a client, Paul. Paul's a dentist. He didn't really want to be a dentist, but his mom wanted him to be a dentist, and he had graduated. He was sitting at the bar with his buddy at the college town, and he looked around, and he was the only adult in the room. Everybody else was college kids. He's like, I got to go to dentist school. So he went to dentistry school to become a dentist. He was working 60 hours a week. Built his practice to a $6 million practice, but he was missing his kids and he was burning out. He developed systems that allowed him to run the practice while only working 2 or 3 days a week and still maintaining the $6 million in revenue. Now he shares that story with his audience and he coaches other dentists to build a practice just like his. He now currently practices dentistry once or twice a month. And he spends most of his time coaching other dentists to implement the same systems that he does. But he does it by sharing the story of how he got to where he is. Because other dentists hear the story and they believe that it's possible for them. That's what his story does for them. Karen is Dr. Karen's one of my clients. Karen was a doctor who struggled to get pregnant for a long, long time. And she tried all the traditional methods and nothing was working. So she really leaned into holistic sort of methods, started taking care of her body, started understanding the body more, water intake, exercise, that kind of thing. And she got pregnant, not only with one kid, but with two, which was pretty awesome. Not at the same time. She didn't have twins. She just had two kids. And now she shares that story with other women to help them get pregnant when they want, because it's her belief and it's her mission, it's her purpose that any woman who desires to get pregnant should be able to get pregnant. And she helps women do that. And she attracts clients to her by sharing her story. That's what your story can do for you. I have another client, John was a pastor. John helps people through crisis. He helps people through crisis. He's helping first responders and others who have really gone through really bad situations. He got that to that point by helping his congregation through struggles, helping his children through struggles, through crisis. And he shares that story. And now he helps clients from all walks of life with crisis management. He's written a book called Run Toward the Roar. And he shares that from stage as a keynote speaker all around the country and in Canada, helping them navigate. But he's built that authority by telling his story. Your story is powerful. You've got something to say. That you've lived through your journey. You've learned many things. You've developed your perspective. But unfortunately, if your story's muddled, if your message is muddled, your story won't land. Your authority won't land. and you're going to continue to struggle to find clients. What you need to do is lean into who you are. You need to use your story as the foundation of your brand and your presence. You need to plug that story into the 7 P's of Ultimate Mic Mastery that we talked about a little bit ago. Those 7 levels of Ultimate Mic Mastery, your foundation and your purpose is the entire foundation of it. And unless you live into that, if you step into that and own it and embrace it, you embrace that foundation, it doesn't matter what platforms you're on unless you build the foundation with your purpose, your power, and your principles. You need to jump into that and build that foundation before you can do anything else. Before your positioning and your branding and the platforms can come into play, you need to develop that origin story of who you are, why you do what you do, and you need to be that magnetic leader that makes others believe they can do it too. That's what your origin story is all about. If you don't lean into it, the house crumbles. It's just a house of cards. So begin selling that origin story. I'd love to help you start doing that. I want to invite you to write your origin story with me. I gave you the steps, but you know how to tell stories. You've done it since speech class in high school. What I want you to do is actually help you take action and help you write your origin story. And we'll do that at the Write Your Origin Story workshop. This is where I'm going to take your hand and walk you every step of the way to craft your origin story. In this workshop, you're going to write your origin story and you're going to make it powerful. And it's going to be a story that separates you from everyone else in your niche. I'm going to show you the pieces that are necessary for you to craft your pivotal story that shaped your mission and your voice that separates you from everybody else because it's the authentic you. We're going to get clarity on your purpose, your principles, and your power. That's the holy trinity of influence. That's the foundational piece that we're going to build in this 3-hour workshop. We're going to use your story as the foundation for your brand and your presence. And I'm going to show you how to incorporate your story into the 7 P's of the Ultimate Mic Mastery that I just showed you. So we build that foundation. And by the end of it, you're going to be able to stand out as a confident, clear, and trusted voice, regardless of the platform. Because it's not the platform that matters, it's your presence that matters. It's who you're being when you're on that platform. It happens 2 weeks from today, Tuesday, May 27th. We're doing it from 3 to 6 Central Time. The tuition is a $97 tuition for the masterclass. For you that are here today, I am going to give you the opportunity to get in at $47 rather than $97 because winners take action and action takers are winners. And because you're all here and took action, you all get $47. Everybody watching the replay of this, $97 because they weren't action takers. All right. So there's the link. It's podcasttalentcoach.com/origin. And if you go to that page, um, I will show you exactly what that page looks like. Let me pull it up for you. When you go to the page, it looks just like this. All right. So here's where you'll get to. This right over here, if you see this right here, have a coupon code. If you click that down, that's where you're going to enter the coupon code. And the super secret coupon code for all of you here live, I'm putting in the chat. That's the coupon code. It's super secret. It's for you to get in at $47. So if you enter that coupon code right here and you hit apply, it will take it from 97 down. Actually, that might even get you in for free. Anyway, you're going to get a great deal. So click on it and get in. All right. Click on it and get in. Let me check it. I'm going to check it just to see. See if I give you the ultimate code. No, that wasn't it. Go away. Mm-mm-mm. Yep. Yep. You get a super bonus. All right. So that's where you get in at podcasttalentcoach.com/origin. We'll put the link to that there in the chat so you can get signed up. You're going to walk away from this masterclass with more than just your origin story. What you're going to walk away with is authority because I'm going to show you how to build it the right way. Your story is your greatest asset. And when you craft it the right way, it attracts people to you so you don't have to chase them down. It's time to tell your story like the leader you are. Magnetic leaders make people believe. And this is how you become someone worth listening to. That's what I want to help you do. It all happens Tuesday, May 27th, 3 to 6 Central Time. Regular tuition, $97. Use that coupon code I gave you and register at podcasttalentcoach.com/origin. And that is in the chat for you as well. So I'm going to get you the link for the authority assessment that I promised you at the beginning. While I do that, any questions? If you have any questions, post those up in the chat, and I will be happy to answer those for you. Will there be a replay of the workshop? I will be able to attend most of the workshop, but not all of it. Yes, I will record it and be able to get you in. It's be there for as much as you can because action takers win, and we are going to actually craft your origin story there. Um, you have enough free videos and PDFs sitting on your computer that you've never gone through, and I can give you all sorts of free content that you'll never go through because, and I know you'll never go through it because I never go through it. Right? I look on my computer and I probably have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of free downloads that I've never even opened because I'll get to it and then I never get to it. So that's why I want to take you through this live and help you walk through it and show you exactly how to do it. So yes, I'll get recorded so you can go back and revisit it, but I highly recommend you attend live and get in there. Um, Will that be recorded? So yeah, Lynn and Bethany had the same question. Yes, it is recorded. The link to the authority assessment is right there in the chat. No need to enter a name or email or anything. Just click that. It'll take you straight to the Google Drive and let you download that as well. For those of you watching the replay and you can't see the chat, I should have been here live. Uh, Winners take action. Action takers win. So jump in there. You have the coupon code. Any other questions? Can't find where the promo code goes. All right, let me show you that one more time. When you go on to this page right here, you click it right in this little area right here where it says coupon code. So this is what your page will look like right here. When you click on have a coupon code, click this little down arrow and enter it right there. All right. Very good. Enter that in there as well. Stop share. Other questions in the chat? Thank you so much. You're welcome. You have to click the arrow to drop down. Yes, that's good. Can you repost the pyramid? Yep, I can show you the pyramid again. And we'll go through this a little bit deeper when we get into the origin story workshop as well. We'll go through this pyramid a little bit more as well. So there's that. Any other questions in the chat I can answer for you? The workshop's coming up 2 weeks from today. Right now, at this very time, we'll do it from 3 to 6 p.m. Central Time. I'd love to have you there. I just got charged 97. Well, Mark, you should have used the coupon code I gave you. All right, Mark, shoot me an email. We'll get that rectified for you. All right, I used it. Well, I think you might need to hit apply. So I'll get it worked out for you. I'll get it figured out, Mark. Don't worry about it. We got you going. All right. I hope to see you there. Podcasttalentcoach.com/origin. And we will get you all hooked up and set up. Can't wait to see you there. It's going to be fantastic 3 hours full of getting work done, rolling up our sleeves, and actually crafting an origin story that attracts your ideal clients, showing you how to be someone worth listening to. How do you step into your spotlight and command a room? That's what we're going to talk about at the masterclass. I can't wait to see you all there. Thanks for being here today. Truly appreciate it. And I can't wait to see you again soon. All right. Take care. Have a great day.